I know there's this like popular trend right now where coaches broadly will say the things of like, well, you know, coaches with their biases, with their biases, with their biases. But it's almost said with and don't get me wrong, I've said it plenty of times, but one of the things I think is super important is there's a big blind spot that we need to understand as coaches. And one of the things that you explore, and I kind of talked about this on a podcast I did the other day, is I was getting interviewed and we were kind of coming on this subject of biases. And I was like, well, you know, one of the biggest, you know, biases you might have, or blind spots more from the backside, is that you think that you don't have a bias, right? And what is a bias? A bias is what we believe based on our experiences, what we know, what we've seen work, all of those things, right? And so it's an opinion, right? And so we use this word bias because one, it seems to be more like, oh, well, that's just his bias, or no, that's their opinion based on what they've seen work X, Y, and Z. Now, it doesn't mean that they're correct, right? Just because you have an opinion don't mean it's right? But the thing is all of us are not right about everything, and we're not all wrong about everything. But when we say that almost as a way to weaponize against other coaches, or we explore this idea, and again, if this feels like, oh, I'm stepping on your toes or I'm pointing at you, listen, this is not a single person. I've seen this all over the place and I've done it myself, but one of the things you got to explore is the opposite side of understanding that, again, at the end of the day, doctors have biases. Everybody has a bias. Whoever's watching this, right? You have a bias towards one thing or another because it is based off of your experiences, what you've seen to work or doing, whatever, right? And the moment you go around assuming that you don't have a bias and everybody else has a bias, but I'm free from bias, right? Well, that's when you're about to fall down. You got a blind spot right there. It's like you have a blind spot if you think you don't have a blind spot, right? Kind of the same subject there. Something for us to keep in mind, right? We all have biases. We all have opinions. It doesn't mean just because we notice somebody else's bias or opinion based on they tend to lean this way or that way, it doesn't mean that we're right and they're wrong, or they're right and I'm wrong, right? It's all information based on experiences, what you've seen work, and why you are teaching what you teach, or what you believe, right? And that's why, again, even in doctors, they have the same thing too. Doctors also have a bias or an opinion, and that's why we go get multiple opinions when we go to get doctors, or there might be something that seriously is wrong with somebody, because again, everyone is biased based on their experience and what they've seen work or what they believe to be true. Hey,